said it was going to be on time. Starting with this new round of today will be Surviving Spades, the Us in Spades. And tomorrow will be, I know TikTok, it takes a while. That's why I babble. Restream has everybody but TikTok. Hello X and Facebook and all of my pages and Instagram and all that. TikTok, we need 10,000 before they will give me the golden key, the RTM key, so that I can join Restream. But more importantly than any of that, looks like TikTok is caught up. I don't know why the Wi-Fi is slow, even though it's the fastest made. I just got my dress from Azazi, and I haven't even gotten it out yet. That means nothing to you, right? I'm the mother of the groom. I am the mother of the groom this summer. I got my dress. I got my dress. It's a mail order dress from a very, very nice place that specializes in gowns for bridesmaids and mothers of the grooms. Oh my gosh, I've never even seen it before. Yay! Look, Sammy and Max. My dress is here. Yay! Okay, I'm going to have to get that puppy altered. I'm a little heavy in the chest, disproportionately, so I have to do they'll have somebody make it all fit, and maybe wadding this nice of a dress up in a ball isn't the best thing either. But it looks like it's pretty wrinkle-proof. This is going to come in handy. Yay, my dress is here. Okay. Whoosh. Oh, Kent Finn's company has been in business for over 45 years at the time this hat was made. I don't know when that was, but it is my good friend Robin's family's, one of their family members' business. And I just saw the Stars and Stripes at a yard sale, and I was like, I want that hat. I want that hat. So let's hang it up over the fedora, shall we? So what's going on? Making sure everything's on and caught up. Well, I'll tell you. Today we are restarting the S in Spades. I'm running late because my sweet shopping group, which supports sweetsurvivor.com, believe it or not, all this stuff costs money, live streaming and then Sweet itself. We are forming the Sweet action teams in your neighborhood. Please do commit to reporting. But I added over 1,000 products yesterday, and I couldn't get the main feed to work and update, so I did the old kick it. I dumped the whole feed and got a new feed. Well, over 1,000 products uploaded with my cost in the here's the price line, and already published. So if you got on my store today, you might have gotten a really good deal. I have been on there since yesterday morning till after midnight. Again, started before 7 today and just wrapped up going through all kinds of new stuff. It's not even all on there, but I also slashed prices across the board because we are going nonprofit now, which means the more products that I can sell to you, the more the women in community artisans get paid, and the better they can take care of their lives and their families, and the more they can grow their businesses. So please, please, please support the Sweet Shopping Group. That being said, I found this old picture. We're going to start today with the Spades program. I guess I need to intro that. For those of you who don't know, this will be the third full run through of the 6-week workshops. I'm going to do one day on the workshop, and tomorrow will be those Nasty Women Talk podcasts, because I need one day where I can vent. So those Nasty Women Talk, that's why I bought that.com, thosenastywomen.com, so that I could grow a venting platform for myself and other women. And those who identify as women, and those who are not women, who like women, and maybe anyone with a sister or a mother. I think that's pretty inclusive. So I found this. This wasn't even supposed to be part of this. It just literally fell out like when I was sitting down or something, because I've been going through papers. That's me. That's after I have 2 children already. Look how dark. I'm in my garden. I'm gone. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. I have 2 cameras, so I have to. I didn't even realize, my God, that was before I was dealing with my CPTSD. That was when life was like a runaway train, playing in the band, two small children, getting divorced through years of whatever. And it was a mess. And I look at that now, and now I'm still crazy, but I'm happy crazy. I'm still intense, but I'm intensely focused. And that came from discovering that I could reprogram my experience. I could reprogram myself, my brain, to, instead of reliving my experience every day through triggers, and they still happen, right? But instead of making that my life focus, how to get from trigger to trigger successfully without anybody knowing, you know, working through stages to how to get through it and maybe not care, maybe be honest with some people. 3 marriages and divorces later, I decided to start being honest. I sought counseling during and at the end of my second marriage, but still, you don't know. You don't know if you were groomed and sexually assaulted for years as a child. You don't realize how much that's been ingrained in you because you've learned to dissociate. And so the shame that is heaped upon you, you may not even at first recognize, but as we start talking, you will. I am certain you will. And everybody that I talk to does. They're like, I'm not ashamed. It's like, okay, I'm glad you feel that way. Now let's challenge that assumption, shall we? Our entire society, and this is why the last live stream I talked about virginity specifically, the concept of virginity. It was my Those Nasty Women live stream from last Thursday, and I talked about how, because, and don't get me wrong, your virginity belongs to you, but the fact that we call your virginity a gift for someone someday or something precious, I mean, it's practically owned by your family, and in much of the world it actually is owned by your family, and that's not cool to me. I do not like that. But on a personal level, as a CSA survivor in America, I think it applies, much of it, to wherever you are, but in a society that juxtapositions purity and virginity and uses terms like, you're going to save yourself for marriage, you're going to give yourself to someone special. If someone rapes you, you're ruined. Or if you just slept with somebody you wanted to, but the family doesn't approve, you're ruined. You ruined the family commodity. I mean, they don't say it that way, but what else can it mean? Why does your family, why does your father and your mother, especially your father, why do they have such an attachment to the usage of your vagina? Think about it. Because it's a commodity, even in the nicest of families. And this whole purity talk, and I am not for screwing around. I am totally for committed relationships. I taught my children, gotta precurse this, I taught my children, sex is great and wonderful. You should have lots and lots of it. Just make sure, go down the checklist, that if you don't end up with this person forever, that you're fine with them raising your child. And my children are boys, so, and you're fine with giving them a minimum of 20% of your income for the next 20 years, and don't do it with argument, because that will upset the children and the family. And plan on dealing with whoever your spouse does end up being, dealing with all of that. And then go ahead, sex is wonderful. Just make sure she can raise your child, whoever she is or they are. Just make sure, just remember, diseases are forever. And also that 2 of you are failed methods of birth control. Now, go out and have fun, kids. That's how I approached it. So don't think that I'm in any way promiscuous. But the fear of God in my kids, I tried to. Because sex is sacred. It is special. Your virginity should be thought of differently. Instead of thinking of it as a package that everyone, for some really weird reason, has a vested interest in, you know, like your purity, your TV shows have someone that's like, you're pregnant. No, but I've never had sex. Ah, it's a huge deal. Everyone's so upset. And then it's like, oh, you're lucky we just found out it's a brain tumor. And everyone's like, whew, it's like, but you know what I'm saying? Virginity, while a useful concept in before and after for yourself, I suppose, is not something that society, you should allow them to put on you because, and this is all tied in with shame, yes, and shame, because I started out feeling ruined. I felt ruined and I also felt guilty. When you're groomed, it just starts so young, it progresses slowly. It's not like you jump right into being raped. You literally form a neural connectivity that allows for this, that separates and dissociates it from normal life. That's a healthy, normal thing to do in an unhealthy, abnormal situation. So don't knock yourself for your ability to dissociate, but you do need to learn to use it for good, not evil. And that's going to be the D, the P in spades next week. But I want to dig deeper into why shame exists. We think of shame as a very personal thing, right? You feel this personal sense of shame. That's why you swallow it. That's why you stuff it into your gut and you don't want to tell anyone about it because you don't want to embarrass them. Now think about that. If I tell someone of this thing I feel ashamed of, but that I really know I was victimized or feel that I was, but I tell them that I'm the bad guy. Who's the person who is shame bound here? Because it's not you. Spoiler alert. It's not you. It's the people judging you. It's the people wanting to make sure you've still got your virginity. It's the people wanting to cover up for the fact that you don't if you're from that kind of a family. It's from even the most well-meaning of progressive, nice families who mean well, but they still say words like, this thing has been taken from you. And I'm telling you, as someone who had the first 100 of my intimate experiences taken from me in the sense that, and I don't like those words, I'm using it specifically for this purpose of this analogy. If you're going to call it taken, and if you're going to tell me that virginity is a thing you can't get back, then those of us who were raped as our first experience, or even later, we can't get back our purity. So, as I said the other day, you are starting us out at emotional ruin and expecting us to climb back out. And I know you're not doing it intentionally, but that's what the language of society is doing. So, a more healthy focus for yourself, and then go preach it far and wide, please, but at least for yourself, is when you feel ashamed of something that happened to you. And remember, if you were a part of something and not kicking and screaming, but you were a child, that's the way it goes. That's normal dissociation. That's a healthy response, as I said earlier, to it, a normal response to an abnormal situation. So you can thank your altars if you have them. I have 3. You can learn to set that aside and reintegrate. And while I still talk to all the people I had to divide into to handle my life, little girl, rage and busy, or who I name them, I never had altars with different names. There's a whole different kind of altar, not the Sybil, we live separate lives altar, but the one of us shuts up and the other one functions and then files it away, and the other one doesn't remember except enough to function. So it's an extreme compartmentalization, and everybody does it really. But those of us who were, under any kind of a traumatic experience, it doesn't have to be sexual. It could be poverty, it could be hunger, it could be war, it could be grief. There are a lot of reasons why a person develops CPTSD. And when they do, they just swallow it. They bury it. They try not to talk about it. They make the shame theirs, and the shame is not theirs. It is not mine. It is not yours. I was not too pretty. He blamed my eyes. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. My eyes, I've got fine eyes, but they are not exceptional enough to excuse raping a child, whatever you call it. Whether you're a sick, twisted, not grown up, which is what you were, and I still believe are, at least until recently, and you know who I'm talking to now. It's not justifying years of turning a child into your little sex partner slave. And that's what happens. And CPTSD that stems from sexual grooming and assault creates again, an ability to dissociate that carries over into your adult life. I think I said Thursday that once I felt so ruined that I went out and tried to ruin myself some more, pretty much. I mean, what's a ruined girl to do? I'm not a liar. I have Asperger's and I can't lie. Like, I'm suck at lying. And like, you get my life story and then it's not pretty. And it's better just to shut up and play my flute is what I figured out. So I wrote all kinds of songs that I didn't even realize until I'm like recording 3 CDs right now, side by side, because I didn't have the time or money to before. My kids are all in college or beyond, and I am just hammering out all these songs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm clearly walking through the journey, even though I wasn't identifying it at the time, of self-punishment and self-discovery and hate turned to hope, and so I'm really excited about that. But that's a journey that I want you to take. That's a journey I want everybody to take. And the way you start, the S in spades. Spades is super easy. We're not going to get crazy deep here. I think all that made perfect sense. But simply make it a mantra. And I kept it simple. 12 steps are too many. This isn't a step program. These are things I do side by side all day. Spades, while they're kind of in order, it's really a loop. And then loops and loops. Shame is not yours. If you start there, you won't be afraid to speak. You won't be afraid to tell your doctor that maybe your endometriosis has something to do with the fact that you were raped as a child repeatedly or something. Maybe you won't be afraid to seek mental help before it's too late. Or maybe you'll be more open-minded with your own children by learning about yourself and learning what to watch out for. Or maybe you'll find your voice and make a difference in the world. Maybe you'll just find inner peace and sleep for once in your goddamn life. In any case, it's all good. That's what I'm saying. And I know that drugs don't work. I know that don't go off your meds because I said that. I'm not a doctor. I'm a neurolinguistic practitioner, yes, but I am not a doctor. I specialize in CPTSD stemming from childhood sexual assault, although it obviously branches out into other things. And I just, number one, until we can move on, which we will next week, to talking about separating the past from the present, you've got to focus and meditate and write it down if you need to. The shame is not yours. And along those lines, I recommend your homework for tonight is to do some EBT. CBT. I'm getting my EMDRs in my CBT. I want you to write or draw. Write your experience in words or draw it. If this does not feel safe to you, if you feel emotionally heavy about this, you can do it with somebody that you trust to understand your situation. Never do this with a blind person, as I call them. Like, I married 3 blind people who didn't know what had happened to me. And as much as they weren't the right one for me, I picked them because I didn't want anyone to see me. And you need to be seen. Because if you're not seeing, nothing else in your life is going to be real. Your relationships aren't, you won't deal really with your children. You know, the hardest thing about this and what took me so long to do it was I had to make sure that my youngest child was old enough to understand what happened to me without having an emotional breakdown. And he admits that it's one of the reasons that he's becoming a police officer and in a 4-year criminal justice program now, is because he wants to help people. So I couldn't be prouder of that. And if you want to help people, and I'm going to wrap up, as the shame is not yours. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow, but tomorrow's actually Those Nasty Women Talk. But what I'm going to do is kind of roll the 2 days together. We're going to talk about the same things, but I want this to be more evergreen content that can help a person 6 years from now. Tomorrow, I'm going to bitch about the shit in the world and the way it should be and the way it's not and why you should do something about that. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. I will be back like this tomorrow. But today, be kinder, gentler Linda is trying to tell you that the shame is not yours and to please support Sweet Survivor. Please start a $5 subscription. And I added over 1,000 new products, and you're bound to find some that are listed at cost instead of the price. I've been trying to correct that literally all day and night yesterday without stop, and also today. But it's great to have all the new products. Thank you, world and universe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. SweetSurvivor.com. Okay. We don't have a jingle.